Okay, welcome back. In this lesson I want to cover shadows. First thing I'm going to do is give the ground a base. So I'm going to select a NURBS plane, just going to create that, and then I'm just going to scale it up in size. That'll give us a nice flat base for you to see shadows on. There we go. It always puts the base actually on ground level, so we've got a bit of a problem here because our little circles, our little spheres, are embedded inside it. So I'm just going to move them all up. Again, I made that group. I'm going to move them a little bit above the ground, and I'm also going to move them a little bit. You can see what's going on. That one's much higher. Now I'm going to drop a light in here as well. Maybe just a directional light. Spin it around. While I'm on lights, there's a very good tool that you can use in here, which is the Manipulator Tool. Click that while you've got a light selected. It's really good, this. The light, you can see my light object, but it will follow the Manipulator Tool. So if I click that, I can basically put that tool exactly where I want the light source to go from. So it will follow that. The light beam will travel down here, and it gives you, using the three elements there, it gives you a perfect view of how you'll see things. So in this one now, I can spin it around. Well, I was talking about doing some shadows, so if I close this down and come down to the shadows section and just expand that, and click use depth map shadows. Now we're using there's ray trace shadows, but we're using the Maya software renderer, so that's going to render the depth map shadows. If you were doing mental ray using the mental ray renderer, which we will be using, you would use ray trace shadows. At this moment you don't need to, you just need to have that selected. So depth map shadows when you're using the Maya software renderer. So we'll just render this frame out now. There's one little thing I've got to do, is just check that it's going to render out the shadows. I just want to go into the options. Usually by default it's already set to render, but we'll have a look. So rendering settings, here we go. Right, Maya software. Right, quality. I should have showed you this earlier because you've been rendering out at low quality, but we want to set the edge, the quality control to production quality. It'll take longer to render out, but your images will be much better, and you'll be going, oh, wish he told me that. I wish he told me that a while ago. Now use ray trace, but in actual fact it won't. It will use the depth map shadows, and that's alright. So close that back up. Now we'll render this frame out, which should be fairly quick. There we go, shadows. And of course your image looks a lot better now because we've got it on production quality. Do remember, if you're just doing draft renders to look at the position of things, do it in low quality because it will take hours to render out big frame lots. And you want to take key points in the animation and render them out and see what they look like. Then do some final production renders before you batch render all your files. Okay, that's it for this lesson. So we're getting a bit more into it now. See you in the next lesson.